Hi, Danny. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Fay. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for joining us for coffee with Contour today. We're chatting with
Uh,
Danny Pisani. We're very happy to be together.
Thanks for having me again. Thank you.
So last time when we got together, we covered a mountain of questions regarding mortgages. It's when everything was fresh and happening. We're still going on. There's a lot of questions that are still there. People need answers, and there's no one better than you to answer them. So thank you again for joining us today. Let's talk
My
about what's
pleasure.
going on with mortgages. Forbearance is still one of the top trending questions, concerns out there. I'm sure you get people contacting you, asking you, concerned about it.
They're still calling me. Even my family's calling me. So, yeah, that's a big issue right now. They're talking about deferments, forbearances, that people don't have to make their payments for 3 to 6 months. You don't have to do anything, just don't make your payments. So, there's so many things that can happen with that, and you need to be very careful of. So I still tell everybody right off the bat, just call them. You need to get somebody on the phone, and if you're going to do something other than make your payment, you need to get it in writing. Like, this is what's going to happen. Just because there's a lot of surprises, or people aren't being completely informed, even by the people at the bank. Again, it's human beings talking to them, or it's a human being, like, it's them, the buyers, the homeowners reading something, interpreting it the way they want to. So a lot of the cases right now, they're still, don't make payments for 3 months, don't make payments for 4 months or 6 months. But after that time frame's over, you have to pay back every single payment you missed plus the current mortgage. What happens if you can? Are you going to be late then? Are you going to be in foreclosure? Are you going to be in default? So all those questions have to be answered really, in writing on what's going on.
So, Danny,
Um,
it's like, pardon the expression, but it's almost like the myth of the mortgage world with what's going on right now. It doesn't mean that if you defer payment that they're magically going to disappear and you're not responsible for them, correct? Like, from my understanding.
No, and there's talks where they could add them on to the back of the mortgage, but I haven't heard of anyone who's actually had that go through yet. Not that it couldn't happen, but my mother, who's actually working, just called in, and she's like, "Well, if I don't pay it, I could save the money in case you need it." And I'm like, "No, I'm okay. Please, just make your payments, make your payments." You know, but it could really hurt them in the end. And they talked about modifications. So you can't discuss legal things and things that can really affect your life just over the phone or from reading something that goes out to everybody. You really need to get something specifically for you in writing if you're going to do something. And now that the time's been going on since this all started, I'm getting people who are looking to refinance, possibly move, or especially with the rates going, refinance. And they're like, "Well, listen, I haven't made my mortgage payment yet this month because I don't have to, but I'm looking to lower my rate, and there really haven't been any rules and regulations yet on how to handle that, because when you go to get a mortgage or refinance, they want to make sure you've made your last 12 payments on time, right? So when people refinance, they think, well, I'm with the same bank, they know me. They don't know you. Everyone's loan is a number when you have a mortgage and it's being serviced. So when you go get a mortgage now, it's like you're getting a brand new deal. It doesn't matter what you've paid on time, as long as you have to have, right, to qualify. But that could be problems down the road, or if you want to buy a house after this is over and you're looking and you currently own a home now. So you really need to discuss those things with the bank that you currently have. And I would be cautious, if you can make the payments, of not, because it may affect your ability to refinance or purchase in a couple months from now.
So, I mean, what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing, because like all the misinformation that continues to be out there, people need to be cautious, careful, but in the right hands. So if they're looking to refinance, you're there for them, right? You need to be. This is the time you got to be in the right hands to make the right decisions, real time. Correct?
Absolutely. I mean, listen, I have some friends who are in credit repair and work with different companies. I've even heard that credit card companies are allowing payments to not go. Again, if you get that in writing and you have a lot of credit cards, and maybe you could get that all done in writing, make sure you do that and still make your mortgage payment if you have to pick between the two. just because it'll be a lot easier to catch up on credit cards than on big mortgage payments. You know, so
That's
there's
a
a lot of different ways, you know, you could structure things. Everyone's case is different. Everyone's life is different, right? So yeah, if anyone has questions, speak to someone like me or you know, someone that you trust that's in the industry.
well, we know you're one of, I mean, your reputation, like people, I mean, everyone knows and loves Danny. You get people real time, real information, walk them through the process. I mean, we've seen you countless times all the way to the closing table, making sure. And right now is a very critical time where people need that. You don't want to have to worry about getting that misinformation, what's going on. But you just brought up a key point. And from, I mean, even from pure logic, if you got to make a decision, because you got to make decisions right now. Sometimes you don't. What do I do? Pay my credit card, pay my mortgage payment. And you made one of the most important statements. It's going to be a lot harder to catch up with your mortgage payments than it is with a credit card payment. So that's key. That's super important. But another thing you brought up, you see a lot of refinances going on right now. Are there good options to refinance right now? Like, what are you saying?
Yeah, I mean, I've probably locked in over 40 people in the last 3 weeks, personally. That's besides purchase business. Um, you know, the average rates that I've been seeing are around 3.125 on a 30-year fixed. It depends on everyone's scenario. Everyone's different. That's not everybody's rate. You know, some are less. You know, I've seen rates in the 15 years down to, close to 2.5.
Oh, wow.
So it really just depends, and it depends where you go too, because rates can vary right now between retail and for someone like myself who's a banker. If they're getting overwhelmed on the retail side or anywhere that can't take in more loans at the speed they're doing it, they just raise their rates temporarily to avoid the mass intake. So that's where, like, I remember for a couple of weeks, even this past week, you know, we were pricing at some days half a point less for the same investor that if you would have walked into retail would have been half a point higher.
Oh, wow.
So there are definitely a lot of people refinancing. You know, we had a pretty high rates back in the end of 18, beginning of 19, and also people's circumstances have changed. You know, people have bought homes in the past or took out a loan when their credit wasn't, you know, up to par, or they didn't have a lot of money to put down.
Correct.
So and their situations have changed also for the better. There are still a lot of people working, you know, first responders, you know, you have your police, your firefighters, your doctors, your nurses, the sanitation workers, marketing people, you know, there's still a lot of people working that are eligible, but you have to still be at work.
Okay. That's the biggest thing. Like, people are saying, what's going on? You know, if I all of a sudden am not working, you're going to have to put things on pause for a little bit, right?
You have to put things on pause. I mean, for realtors, you should really be cautious of who's buying a home right now, and so should they, because they don't want to be caught up on something or put their money and have it tied up in escrow if they do lose their job and can't close, right? There's a lot of guideline changes, not even for people who work W-2 employees, but for, you know, self-employed owners. The way that banks used to look at their income is they would look at the last 2 years' tax returns, and then they'd get a profit and loss statement, you know, showing what they've done up until now, because they don't get pay stubs like W-2 people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you get a P&L from your profit and loss from your CPA, and you're good.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way it's been for a very long time. But now they're actually making you provide your business checking accounts 10 days, you know, up to 10 days prior to closing, showing that there's still funds going into that account.
Wow.
So even if you have a ton of money and you're able to make the payments and you're able to put the down payment and close and everything's good, if there's no income coming into that business, the majority of investors are not allowing you to close as well.
So Danny, I think it's really important, because what you've established for us today, and which is like critical, we saw how things were going on, right? In terms of mortgage, how deals were getting done, transactions, etc. Now, and you've brought us to what's going on currently. It's up and down, it's changing. That's why they need to keep in touch, talk to you. You know, you're giving real-time, real information, and that changes daily, right? Now we have to think about what we have to start thinking about tomorrow and the day after that and the future, like what's going on. So walk us through that. You know, it's like we're establishing a timeline, but also we have to be able to be adapt and ready with all the fluctuations going on.
So I mean, that's a lot. Things do change daily. Really to be prepared for the future. I mean, there's only so much people can do right now. If you're working, great. Keep working, keep trying to pay those bills on time, even if they tell you you don't have to. Speak to someone like myself, because time may be on your side, where there's things that you could do to put yourself in a better position. I mean, everyone's different. Every single person's different, right? But this is something that we've been doing even before this happened, is trying to get a hold of people in advance. So, a lot of people said to me, listen, I'm not buying for 6 months, or I'm not buying for 3 months. We'll talk then. I don't want to waste your time, and it's never wasting someone like my time, because everyone has different things they don't know about. They don't do this for a living. They don't buy houses for a living. They definitely don't do mortgages for a living, right? Or sell homes. So there's things that people like myself and you and your company, right, and Berkshire Hathaway can give them advice on what to do to make themselves in a better position, to maybe raise some credit scores, maybe pay off a little bit more debt to get into a different type of loan product. So really just, keep doing everything you can. Some people don't have a job right now. So really pick and choose what you can do if you have the ability. Again, different things that you pay affect your credit scores in different ways, for example, right? So don't be scared to ask for help from the credit card agencies. Everybody's just, I do mortgages for a living, but mortgages. You get 4 lates on 4 credit cards, or 1 late on 4 credit cards, your score gets tanked, right? Because it's all fresh. It's a new late, for example. So speak to us, talk to us, and we'll see what we can advise as much as possible, to make sure that they're in a good position.
I think, again, I mean, you've touched on something that's very crucial. There's things you don't realize, simple things that will affect your mortgage, your score, what you're capable of doing. So again, I mean, one thing that everyone, loves about you and is that you're available. Meaning when you've always said that, and people like, no, he really is, like the feedback you get from in the real estate industry, which is pretty amazing. So you've adapted to the new model of way people are doing things. They're still available, like for people, they can reach out, we want to know if
I'm more available than ever, to be honest. I'm not, me, I'm not one to sit home. But if I am home, I'm working also. But more than ever, yeah, I mean, my phone goes on now. I mean, 6:37 in the morning, I'm working with people on the phone till still about 10 o'clock at night. And then, last night, as we were mentioning earlier, we were talking, I was on my computer getting everything ready till 3 in the morning for today. So that way I can start fresh and make sure everyone's files were good to go. So 7 days a week. I mean, honestly, the days of the week are irrelevant more than ever now. It's Groundhog Day. But yeah, no, please reach out anytime.
Thanks. And on a final note, if there was like some like a list of like tips or suggestions, just like a checklist, what would that be right now? Like, what do you think people should be looking at doing? Besides reaching out to you and being in trusted hands, what do you think?
Well, I mean, it depends on what they're looking to do. If you're looking to buy a home, I mean, people are still selling. I'm probably getting, quite not as many contracts as before, that's for sure. But people need to sell. I have someone whose spouse, they bought a home in Florida. The husband staying down there working on the home. The wife is gonna move down in a month and a half, whatever it is. They're ready to get back together. Yep. There's people who own homes that are empty, or if somebody passed away, that the family can't, afford to maintain that home. So they need to sell it. So there are still a lot of homes for sale. Companies like yours, like Berkshire Hathaway, they're doing a phenomenal job.
We worked really hard
with doing virtual listings and showing people everything. And if it goes well, I mean, obviously, especially vacant homes, they can go in, right? I think they can still go in and look at them.
Totally.
So really, rates are very low. It's still a good time to buy. Obviously, it's a scary time to buy. So you got to be very smart about how you go about it. But our entire process is done virtually. The inspections they can do with the inspector over the phone virtually. Closings are done virtually. Everything's done without it even seeing somebody really, except for a realtor who may have to open the door to let them in, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
so
so
basically, it's sorry to interrupt, but what's great, even in a time like this, even with all the craziness, you're still able to do business as usual. You've adjusted and changed your model. You've adapted. You guys are ready. You're revved and ready to go.
we've been ready for this I mean, we didn't think it would be this that would happen, but
Yeah.
us Long Islanders, right, and New Yorkers with Sandy, our company's been ready to handle something like this where the company would have to work from home for the last 3.5 years. So it's still business as usual. We're still closing refinances in under 30 days. Purchases, if we have title, with same time frame. I know a lot of the county offices aren't running up to full speed. So, my advice is if you are going to buy, make sure you have a very, very good team. You have a very proactive attorney who works with a very good title company. Because I've seen a lot of attorneys who have thrown their hands up and just said, I can't do anything. I can't meet with you. We're stuck. That's it. We have to wait till this is over. And that's not the case for a lot of people. So just really be smart in choosing the right team. I think that's the most important thing if you are looking right now. And definitely talk to someone like me or a mortgage banker to make sure that everything is good to go, because the qualifications, or if you have a pre-approval and you've been looking for the last 6 months, that pre-approval may not be valid anymore due to the changes that happen rapidly. So make sure you work with a loan officer who is up on top of the guidelines and changes that are going on in the industry.
I'm all I can say is that we're very lucky to have you on our team. So it's pretty awesome. Thank you for today, and thank you. I mean, again, we covered a mountain of information that's so key and imperative. But thank you, Danny, and thanks for being on our team.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It really is. You guys are awesome.
Thanks. Enjoy the rest of the day. We'll see you soon.
I'll see you soon.